And this is an important population to the state of Idaho because it's a native population. Its genetics have never been adulterated by any transplants or anything, and it has not been studied.
The work that goes into this is months and sometimes years.
So we're on the Salmon River, downstream from the city of Salmon. We're between North Fork and Corn Creek, for those of you that know the area. And we're doing capture of bighorn sheep, and then we're testing them for Imobi. This is a surveillance testing right now. We don't know where we have it, the disease, or where we don't, or if, or where. And so before we can manage for the disease, we need to find out where we have it, and then also where we have it, what strains we have.
They're capturing and collaring wild sheep. During the process, they're taking blood samples, they're checking for Imobi, weighing them. It's imperative for better understanding the sheep and the problems that they face.
The purpose of the capture today is to sample sheep for a bacterium that causes pneumonia, especially in lambs in this population. So this is work that we've done elsewhere in the state, and specifically Hell's Canyon, that has been successful at clearing pneumonia from these populations, so helping them become more healthy. We're really interested in the population structure because that influences disease transmission, and so we want to learn more about how we can intervene in disease transmission by using what we know about population structure. So we'll be doing that with the GPS collars, and then we also have some VHF collars which we'll be following on the ground that will give us some additional sample size.
From a management standpoint, we're going to gain more knowledge on what our subpopulations look like, how our sheep are using the landscape, what kind of survival we're getting, and from that we can get some cause-specific mortality and what's driving our survival. But the bigger picture here is actually the surveillance for Mycoplasma pneumonia, commonly called Imobi, and what our prevalence is, and how our populations interact, and what the future management of that's going to look like. And west-wide, that's kind of what's driving sheep populations, so it's pretty exciting work to get started for us. For rams get a little different treatment. We still want to monitor the disease prevalence, but obviously we're not looking at pregnancy. We're still pulling the disease, we're still pulling the blood, but they get a GPS collar instead of a VHF collar, so we can look at movements and exchange between populations. What we're doing now is trying to make sure this collar not only fits good now, but has enough room for growth.
Each sheep is individually marked with a radio collar and ear tags, so they can be visually identified with the different frequencies on the radio collars. Because we are looking at disease, we can identify which individual relates to what disease test result.
My job today is to monitor temperatures, make sure animals have banamine if they're too hot, oxygen, and just monitor overall health when they're on the ground, as well as ultrasound for rump fat, pregnancy, and body condition. The rump fat gives us an indication of how good of condition the animal is coming out of winter, and then for whatever might be left until there's a good green up in the spring. So it just kind of tells us the overall health of the animal and if they've been able to put on weight, as well as if they're pregnant, how much weight they're still carrying to hopefully provide a successful birth.
So the whole operation is pretty involved. Idaho Fish and Game, of course, is the lead. They are the managing agency. Idaho Wild Sheep Foundation is helping with money and manpower to help pay for it, and we have anywhere between 7 and 10 volunteers per day out here working with it. We've also got the helicopter crews, the capture crews. It's a lot of people getting a lot of things done. It takes a lot of resource and manpower and money. So far, the operation has been beyond what we had even hoped. People talked about maybe 10 to 12 sheep per day. Yesterday, we successfully processed 24. Today, we're at about 18, and we're not done for the day. We're hoping for 60 for the week, which a lot of people at first thought was too aggressive, but we could make it. We've got a real A-team running right now. Properly manage the disease of bighorn sheep in Idaho is a huge multi-year process, and the Idaho Fish and Game can't do it alone, and the Idaho Wild Sheep Foundation can't do it alone. And that's why it's so important that we all work together so that we can properly manage bighorn sheep, properly manage the disease, and properly manage how we're going to figure out what needs to be discovered and then how it will be used for management. And it's going to take a lot of work, a lot of people for a lot of years, but it's working. And we're seeing phenomenal impacts of this same work that was started in Hell's Canyon with the Hell's Canyon Initiative. So that's where we're moving that research and building on it and moving into other areas in the state.
You know, without the partnership with the Idaho Sheep Foundation, it'd be really difficult to be able to fund an operation like this. So it's been very beneficial to have them step up and assist with this process. The pneumonia issue is a huge deal for wild sheep, and so for them to be able to do the testing, to be able to track the animals and through the GPS collars is going to give a better understanding of migration patterns and just what it is these sheep do out in the wild.
I don't think this would have happened without the Wild Sheep Foundation. And both Idaho chapter is really important, as well as national, Midwest chapter, and other organizations as well have just been critical to making this happen for sheep.
Well, the Sheep Foundation, through their banquets and membership, are able to raise funds that are vital to funding something like this type of an operation. You know, we all have limited resources, particularly in government, and so to have a partnership with someone that can help fund something like this is imperative. It's like a dream come true to be able to come out here and participate in something like this and just watch the professionalism of the department working with the volunteers from the Sheep Foundation to be able to put it all together, to make it safe for the sheep and to collect that valuable data.
I'm Hallie Swain. I decided to come do this because I thought it was a great opportunity to learn more about the sheep, meet a bunch of new people in the Fish and Game, and just overall a great experience.
Pretty excited to be involved in it and get the data from it and put it to use for sheep conservation.
The Sheep Foundation is doing, we're supplying resources, and that's money and manpower. Our primary fundraiser is the banquet once a year, and that's where this money comes for these conservation projects. We help pay for the helicopters, we help pay for the collars, which are very expensive, we help pay for the testing, and we show up with manpower to help get the work done here. And in fact, the helicopter team, and they work all over the western United States, just said that this was the best ground team that they've seen work. For those of you that have been working with wild sheep for decades like I have, and a lot of us have, it seemed like we were always losing. We were losing habitat, we were losing sheep. And now with what we're learning with the MOV and with the test and capture work out of Hell's Canyon, we're actually turning the corner. We've got areas now where we've got more sheep than we've had. So we have the opportunity to expand that knowledge and really turn the corner on sheep management. We're actually at a point now in some areas where we're gaining ground. We're gaining larger populations, and that's better for everybody. It's better for the sheep, it's better for the sportsmen, it's better for the people that just want to view a gorgeous, majestic ramp when they're out there. But it's all going to take manpower and money and time. So we need to continue to work together with all of our different partners and together to focus those efforts. And then we can expand this success that we've seen in parts of the state to other parts of the state and to other states, particularly the ones that border Idaho. So we're actually at a critical time here in Bighorn sheep management, and a very good time to be in Bighorn sheep management. And so I ask everybody to come in and help all you can, whether it's coming out like this and working as a volunteer, whether it's making sure you go to the banquet and support us financially. Also, we'll be putting together the Idaho Wild Sheep Endowment Fund that is kicked off at the banquet, and that will help us with sustained and steady money as we move forward, so that as we get into long-term projects, multi-year projects, that we have the funding to continue to do this work. We're all just working together to put and keep wild sheep on the mountain.